the Gould Mine podcast.
So what would your recommendation be for anyone who's kind of sitting there and being like, hey, should I take on a more passive role, take on a more active role? What would your advice be to someone who's in that, who's kind of in that questioning base?
Yeah, it's a really important question. And so to be clear, I have both, right? I have, Sugo Capital and I have active investments, but then I have I place my money in passive investments. Probably at least 50% of my net worth is in passive investments. So a lot of people mix it up. And so normally when people ask me that question, I say, well, where do you live? If you're looking to be an active real estate investor, it's important where you live. Because if you say, I live in Marin County, which is where I live. I live in Marin County and I want to invest for cash flow. You say, well, sorry, you can't do it. You can't be an active investor. You can't. You can't really find a fourplex, but you might be able to find a duplex, but it's not going to cash flow. They're all cash flow negative. And so depending on where you live and what your goals are, it may or may not even be feasible. So that's usually the first question I ask. And if you say, I live in, say they live in north of Dallas, northeast of Dallas. Wow, you can get some single family homes to cash flow over there. So it's like, well, if you can find some great stuff and you like the hustle and you can find cash flow and that's your priority and it's better cash flow than you can get in any passive investment you find, then that might be right for you. So the first thing to consider is where do you live and what are your goals and can you reach your goals where you live? And so I started investing for cash flow in Indianapolis,
nice.
But it was very far away from where I live. So when things didn't go right, it was nearly impossible for me to get out there and see what was going on. I had to replace property management companies and stuff like that. It was just really, really difficult. And so that's why I don't really suggest it unless you're planning to have a huge portfolio out of town. You're not going to get the attention and respect that you need from a property management company if you just have a couple single family home rentals. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is really pay attention to the amount of time you want to spend working. So some people, they're 35, 40 years old and they want to go into active investing and they're willing to be working. And it is work to be an active investor. And they're fine with that because they're replacing their job with, being an investment manager.
Yeah.
Now, someone who's 65, 70 years old and they're done working and they're looking to invest to relax, I will suggest you get into active investing because it is work. And unless you've already been in it for years, normally actually what we find is folks around 65 years old are transitioning out of active investing into passive investing. So they're selling, if they've been managing commercial real estate, they're selling that and they're 1031 exchanging that into our passive investment. So, they might sell something, they have a $3 million gain, and they 1031 exchange that into a multifamily building with us. And so they can be passive and manage it, but they still get to, defer those capital gains. So we see more of that than the other way around. So, where do you live? What are your goals? And then how much do you actually want to work? Is it feasible given where you are in life and your goals?